He said he was coming back. He told everybody there that he was coming back. He said they were going to go for 7.
Well, he's just a very supportive Patriot for life kind of guy.
I guess he is, as we are joined now by a Patriot for life guy, Super Bowl champion Matt Chatham. We'll take a look at the free agent headlines today in the free agent press newspaper that we invented ourselves. Trey Flowers going to the Detroit Lions. Your reaction, Matt?
Not surprised on really two fronts. That one of the former Patriots people swooped in to understand the value of that guy. I wondered if this was going to be the case because, it wasn't a sack stat guy, but he's so incredibly valuable to a defense. Matt Patricia's going to know that. Mike Vrabel's going to know that. Some of the really hardcore defensive guys around the country are going to understand what this guy can do because he can move all over the place, can do so many things in the run and the pass break pockets if you need to, but do other stuff too. So it doesn't surprise me that those are the people that swooped in. The other part of it, I'm not surprised the Patriots passed, in part because the position pays so much. It has nothing to do with Trey. He's tremendous. Love that he got the money. It's great for him. He absolutely earned and deserved it. But the Patriots have a pattern here of paying high end for a free safety and Devin McCourty. Dante Hightower paying high end for a middle linebacker, paying high end for your kicker. Back to the Vince Wilfork days, defensive tackle. The positions that don't cost as much necessarily, but the really highest paid positions are the offensive tackle, these pass rushers, and then quarterback, and obviously you have one of those in-house. Those are the ones not to chase. They didn't with Chandler Jones. They didn't with Nate Solder. They didn't now with Trent Brown. We'll talk about him here.
Yes, we will.
And then also now not Trey Flowers. So that part of it to me is not so.
Just to follow up on Flowers and the Patriots defensive line as it stands right now, reportedly trading for Michael Bennett. You have Dietrich Weiss Jr. remaining. Derek Rivers, who we haven't seen a lot of course, had an injury his rookie year. We saw him sparingly in 2018. Can they fill that void with that group of players, or they have to go outside and get somebody?
Well, the unique thing about Trey was that he's not the biggest guy in the world, right? So he's a 265 guy, maybe 270. Michael Bennett's actually the one on the roster. His body type fits him the best. Derek Rivers is more of a tall, thinner, true outside linebacker that's sort of endish in today's world. But the real guy that's like Trey is actually Michael Bennett. But he's an older guy, so it's not like you're going to have him here for the next 4 or 5 years, that kind of thing. I think this will be a collective effort. You're hoping to see a little more out of Derek Rivers this year, and from his standpoint, it's just usage. It's not the way that he played. He just didn't get a ton of opportunity. You have to remember John Simon's out there as well. Some people kind of forget about that guy, but outside linebacker is a slash defensive end spot here. And Adrian Claiborne's still there again on a number that's workable. I think he stays in-house. In my view, it sucks, obviously, that Trey moves on, but I think they'll be addressing defensive tackle much more than the end spot.
Another headline in the free agent press that we have invented again tonight. Trent Brown, offensive lineman for the Patriots, only spent 1 year with the Pats, had an outstanding year protecting Tom Brady's blind side. He's going to the Raiders on a 4-year deal, a record-setting deal with $36.75 million of that guaranteed, $66 million overall. But just your thoughts on Trent Brown no longer with the Patriots.
You go out, you play like that guy did, and you earn the money. That's just how it works. Yeah, and you have that kind of body type. He's 6'8", he's 300, and Lord knows how many pounds. One of the biggest guys in the game. And there were so many times during the year where he just emasculated the guy across from him. Pushing defensive end linebackers into the second level, sometimes the secondary. Just kind of highlights. And when you do things like that and you do it for a winning organization, people start to take notice. You roll back a year before when he was in San Francisco, and you have those quotes from Miller out in Denver talking about how he was one of the best pass protectors in football. That gets people's attention. And then you go to a place like New England and shine like that again on a championship team. It's going to bring the dollars. But again, it's back to my original point with Trey. Offensive tackle, pass rusher, quarterback, those are the highest ones. And it's the one the Patriots generally don't chase. Thank goodness they drafted Isaiah Wynn, and boy, do I love that guy. He's going to be a great player, but he's got to get himself healthy with that Achilles.
A lot smaller, too. Trent Brown, 6'8", 380. Is that a concern as far as Isaiah Wynn's size?
It's just a different way to do it. Isaiah Wynn looks a lot like Matt Light, and that worked out.
That's a good
he's
point.
A red jacket Patriots guy, and Matt Light is not 6'6". He's just a tick shorter than I am, I believe. He's just a 6'3" guy. But he was super athletic, really strong hands. I think we've got to watch a lot of Isaiah in training camp and see him up close in the drills, see what he could do in a couple of those preseason games. And the best thing about this guy is his athleticism, just matching his feet and his body. He mirrors so perfectly, and he's got great grab. He punches well. His technique is so good. He works well with others as far as the combination blocking. He's going to be a great player in this league. Again, once he's healthy. Achilles tend to be the thing, Adam, though, that it's not like he has a congenitive or that's the wrong word, but a knee that you're going to have
Degenerative?
to worry. Congenitive. I'm making up words here.
That's why I'm here.
Thank you. But he doesn't have the knee, he doesn't have the back, he doesn't have the kind of thing, some shoulder or neck or something where it's like, wow, this might creep up again. Those freak things when an offensive lineman of all people snaps an Achilles. It's just not one where you're like, okay, that's going to be here, and we'll be talking about it 10 years from now.
And he's got youth on his side as well, which always helps. Rob Gronkowski is not a free agent, but he is making headlines in the free agent press tonight because of some comments from his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, on ESPN, talking about Rob Gronkowski's future, saying, I talked to Rob last night. He won't even tell me. He hasn't made a decision yet. I honestly don't know. I'm waiting to see like everybody else. And Matt, with the free agency period opening up on Wednesday officially at 4 p.m., the Patriots don't know Rob Gronkowski's future. That's sort of a tough spot.
Well, I think the position the Patriots are in are not much different than a year ago. And I think the situation here is such that if you think you need to buffer that particular position, you're going to think that whether or not he's here, quite frankly, because he's an older player, right? I mean, this is what happens. He's the highest performer really that's ever played that position, but he's not older, but I mean, he's still, year to year contemplating the end of it. So in those situations, you can feel confident in addressing it with or without him, right? The other thing here to understand is, and I was a little bit surprised by this, that Rob used the specificity that he did with the term when he said, I'm going to take a couple weeks, and I think he said it a couple times during that Super Bowl week when we were down there in Atlanta, a couple weeks to decide. My view, quite frankly, is that guy has earned the right to take a couple months. I don't think he needed to tell people a couple weeks, because right now that he hasn't decided that and we're a month past it, that's not too long for me. In my view, this is a decision that can be made in June, quite frankly. The injuries he was carrying around during that season, they don't necessarily go away in weeks, they go away in months. So let it breathe. Make your decision. I still presume he'll be back, but he's of no obligation to tell anyone now anything.
It's been more than 5 weeks, actually.
There you go.
There you go. There's the exact number.
Math.
Yes, math.